Pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, real quick, the opening statement. The regular session of the Cascade School District Board of Directors will now convene in the district office boardroom and via Zoom. The laws governing boards of education require their work be done where the public can observe their actions. Please remember this is the board's meeting for the public to observe. Others may participate only with the approval of the board. There is a guest list over there. If you have not signed said guest list, please sign the guest list. And number 2 is approval of the minutes for the September 8th, 2025 regular board meeting.
I move to approve the September 8th, 2025 school board minutes.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the September 8th, 2025 regular board meeting. Any discussion?
Nope.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Prioritize the agenda. Mr. Drill.
We can go straight down the line, sir.
Dynamite. So number 1 would be, hey, Mr. Drill.
Welcome. Good evening. Welcome to October. Glad you guys are here. Wanted to just let you know that everything's kicked off really well. We talked about it back in September. We were only about a week and a half or so in, but after 6 or 7 weeks of school, things are really going really well. And appreciate that. All the hard work with the different people you're going to hear from tonight and others has really paid off, getting things prepared, getting things ready. It's a great combination of new faces with lots of interesting backgrounds and experiences, and a lot of our veterans working together from every level of our staff, whether it's on our maintenance crew or taking care of counseling or whatever the case may be. It's just been fantastic. So really appreciate that. As you see in my report, we're up about 65 kids from this time last year with the financial situation that seems to be a little more gloomy. That's a good thing to be up. I've had a number of people ask me a little bit about, well, that's a lot of inter-district transfers, isn't there? And there is some inter-district transfers. There's no question about it. We've had over the course of this year almost 102. But please understand that we lost 105 students to basically other districts. They want to transfer out to homeschool and to online school. So when you add those 3 up, we've lost 105. So we're kind of a net -3. Kind of a -3, not a net, -3 with regard to the total number of kids. So we bring those other students in to find that balance. So this year that's kind of been interesting. What we have noticed is a whole lot of move-ins. So there have been a lot of people that have moved into this district, many of them specifically so their kids can go to school here. And so that's pretty interesting to kind of see the difference of that. Almsville, the high school and the Opportunity Center are the areas where we're up a little bit. The others are within 1 or 2 from the previous year. So it's not like anybody's way down. The reality is it's kind of balanced out. So that's pretty interesting to see with regard as you're just kind of watching and learning about kind of what happens next with regard to our attendance. We continue to talk about going out for a bond, which we will do, which will bring information to you in hopes that you would agree for the May 2026 election. We have convened the group that we had from last early or late winter and early spring. That group convened one last time here a few weeks ago, and I'll let Mr. Costello talk more about that this evening, kind of give you the lowdown of what that process is before they bring that information to you here right after the first of the year. Okay? And believe it or not, Mr. Rasmussen and company are right in the middle of homecoming week. So things are not busy at all. We're all over the place. And so I just can't believe that it's here. And with the adjustment in the calendar, we will do conferences and such in just a couple of weeks right around Halloween time, so the week before. So that is kind of where we're at. Any questions?
So I have a question about the bond, but I can wait until Greg.
Whichever way you'd like to do it.
I can wait.
Okay.
But my one question you can help me on is the Cascade Opportunity Center has gone up to 90 from 82 students last year. Are those students, do you know off the top of your head, are they transfers from outside of our district, or
No.
are they kids that were at one of our other schools and transferred to the Opportunity
They are
Center?
kids that transferred there. We rarely have a kid that gets to transfer in from another district to go directly to our Opportunity Center, if at all. Pete, you want to say something about that?
The only kids that go straight there are like move-ins.
But they're in district then, it's
When
not a
they're in district,
transfer.
We realize they're credit deficient, and we'll say, hey, we want you to help you get graduate on time with somebody else.
Right, but but other than that, they're always For the
They're-
most part, they're kids that are kids in other schools here in our district that transferred over there. They're a sidestep, not across this, you know.
Correct,
We use
correct.
the Opportunity Center as a credit recovery center for our students.
Right.
And so once they're ours, if they're a transfer and then they fall below the threshold, we're gonna look at their contract, at their transfer contract.
Right.
first
And maybe they don't belong here in this
Maybe they
district
don't belong.
anymore.
Sure.
Right. And is it just me, or has the Opportunity Center has grown substantially from a number of years ago?
So it was crazy high on the backside of COVID
Right.
when we had students there. So we had almost 140 kids there at one point. So the mid 80s to the high 90s, beginning of the year, it's kind of, so we've started a little higher, and we generally grow. So as peak gets to second try, and then the third trimester of kids
But
are
10 years
credit.
ago, wasn't it a lot smaller out there?
Yeah, but we also, that number includes the kids that are directly just online as well. So there, you've got both.
Got it.
That's how we count it. And then the person that's truly in charge of how we do all the transfers is sitting right next to me. And she whispered to me quietly, yeah, we don't transfer anybody from the outside
Could've
directly
just
to
had
the
you to save a
Opportunity
lot of
Center.
trouble then.
Yes, you could have.
All right. Well,
Yes, you
sorry.
could have.
Next time. All right, good.
Any other questions?
Any other questions?
No.
No. All right. Thank you, Mr. Drill.
You're welcome.
Finance Director's report. Mr. Wong, welcome. Always good to see you.
Thank you. Good evening. No business is like school business. All right. So I'd like to start with my my note here. As y'all can see, I left a note. Like I talked about last time, September payroll is what I call the first true payroll. You can get a lot of good data, good information from September payroll. And one thing that we know, and really from the conversations I heard, that seems like everyone's on the same page. Like this year, PERS is absolutely going to be very expensive, and in 2 years, it's scheduled to go up again. So, Mr. Drill and I, we have had many conversations about this. We're working on a long-term. We're monitoring our budget really, really careful, and we're kind of planning, I think, 12, 24 months ahead of time in a long-term strategic plan. How are we going to handle this? Because earlier today we had our admin meeting. I was telling everyone is Cascade in the Valley is absolutely in the better situation financially. If you look at Dallas, Corvallis, Salem Kaiser, or really pretty much anyone, Cascade is in a really good place that give us a lot of cushion to prepare for like a dramatic cost increase for PERS. So, I think we're looking at roughly about $3 million more this year, just in payroll, like benefit cost.
So let me,
Yes,
I'm
sir.
going to interrupt you, I'm sorry. So these other schools, these Dallas and these Corvallis schools, if they're in way worse position than we are, what are
Right.
they doing different right now? Or are they doing nothing and just taking a beating?
They're taking 10, 15 days furlough. Dallas School District, for example, they laid off about 70, 75 people in the last 2 years.
Whoa.
So Cascade is absolutely in a great position compared to the rest of the schools in our area.
So what we need to do then is watch them closely and do everything good they do so we can avoid the bad that they have to do.
Correct. And in my opinion, I think the growth of PERS, which is not in the state funding formula, which, look, you guys grow $3 million a year just for us. Like think about for Salem Kaiser, like that's not in the funding formula. How are you expect public school to handle that kind of increase? Like if you own a private business, everything is 50% more expensive. Like, so Mr. L, which, he was here in 2008 and 2010. So we had a lot of really, I think, very constructive conversations. And I like to use the phrases, look, in my opinion, the iceberg is 12 months to 24 months away. However, the good news is we have time. Most other people don't. We can turn this thing. We can carefully drive the boat, the ship. So, this is the part I like about my chart. You can see that this year, the dip is much more steep than the other years. That's why, because of PERS. So that's really what I find really significant in September. And, you know, we kind of see this is coming, and we had meetings with all the other business managers. We're talking, we're in good communication, and, you know, I think Mr. Joe has a lot of experience in his years of service, so we're watching this very carefully. And this is I believe this is going to be a statewide issue, because most of the school, as far as I know, like if you're a business, most of the school in Oregon will go bankrupt in 2 years.
Right. Yeah.
So I think that's one thing I feel really proud. Cascade is in such a good place because everyone's going 120%. You know, we're good, bringing good results of academics, good reputation. We have increased enrollment. So I think in conclusion, we are in a really good place compared to other schools. However, we need to be very careful how we're going to drive in the next 12 months. Yep.
Okay.
Any other questions?
I guess as we're talking about Oregon as a whole, has there anything been brought up to the legislation yet? I know it's probably not that time of year, but I mean, I can't imagine all these schools being just drowning right now that it hasn't been brought up to the governor or the legislation or something at this point, right?
They have. They have brought it up. I mean, Williams Group, the finance directors, Department of Ed talked to them a couple weeks ago. The governor's office, policymakers have talked to certain groups of superintendents. It was visited with us last week about the issue. It's not that they're not aware of it. It's just that I think they're going to end up spending time trying to decide how to solve it. You know, from their perspective, a lot of
All
what's
they've done is acknowledge it.
they've acknowledged it. They're and you know, because they're all political entities, their response is this has happened because of the federal government coming up with a new federal bill that cut taxes, and
Oregon's was a state thing.
and Oregon taxes are tied to the federal taxes. So if you drop federal taxes down, state taxes will also come down. That wasn't what they were planning on when they built the legislative session. So they are now short somewhere between $400 and $600 million. So that's their first move. The second move usually is now let's get our hands dirty and start talking about how to fix it.
Okay.
So we're still in phase one.
Yeah. Okay.
Anything you want to add to that, William? I mean,
Well, I'm very pleased with our audit firms. We started audit for the prior year. They're really responsive.
Who are we using this year?
The Umpqua, am I saying it right?
Yeah, Umpqua.
Umpqua Finance.
yeah, the same one we had last year,
Yeah.
The same auditor
Yeah.
from last year, not
Yeah.
the one, because we had a problem with one 2 years ago.
Polly Rogers.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it is.
yeah.
Okay.
So they brought me up to speed. We're working on this year's audit, so I think it's going pretty well so far. Yeah, we like for the last month really we spent a lot of time. For me personally, I spent a lot of time with other business managers across the state. We're just trying to understand how are we going to navigate through this. And other than that, I think really Cascade is in a much better place than most of them, which I think everyone here should be very proud.
So how is your personal onboarding go? How's it going for you, getting up to speed, getting your head wrapped around everything Cascade? How has that process been for you?
I think, I think it's a new system, very different legislations, I had I had a lot of great help from people who's been in the business for 20 years, the lady from Staten. I went to her a couple of times, I brought like 25 questions, wrote on a list, and said, hey, 1, 2, 3, ABC, tell me why.
Right.
Tell me how this works.
Yeah.
And, I think my philosophy is if you're not asking questions, well, first you have to ask questions. Number 2 is you have to ask the right questions. So I try to surround myself with the people who have a lot of experience. and so that I know that I can make fewer mistake, and I feel like in general, Mr. Tro gave me a lot of, flexibilities, and he offered a lot of help connecting with people. So.
So you have the support you need
I believe so,
as
yes.
you continue to gain familiarity with the process.
Yes, sir. And I would say, I told him a phrase, I think it's a new bottle, but the same kind of wine is, how school funded is really similar pretty much across the country.
Sure.
There's some states are very interesting, but like it's very similar. So, for example, right now Oregon, the state of Oregon, they are looking at their budget, which, potentially it's going to impact the public school funding. So we've all, Mr. Drew and I, we all talked about it. Like, that's part of our conversation is how can we drive this boat carefully in the next 12 months.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Wonderful. Well, thank you. Appreciate your everything you're doing.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. Wonderful. Okay, moving on. Director of Education report, Dr. Dyer, welcome.
All right, welcome. There we go. Hey, good evening, everybody. Nice to see you guys again tonight. You have my board and my report in front of you. There's a lot of good information in there, a lot of great things happening across the Cascade School District. And I don't really want to get into it because we heard a lot about it already tonight. But I really wanted to kind of get into 3 driving forces of what caused that growth that has caused some success, what I feel, in Cascade. First off, I just want to say Cascade has a great system of teamwork. Teams are all over the district. We have an avid leadership team. We have a safety committee, a safety team. We have PLC teams, and so those are professional learning communities. We have those at grade levels. We have those in content areas at the secondary campus. We even have specialized areas such as counseling, English learner development, and also we have principals that come together and we meet and we talk. And really, that's one thing that I really, really love about Cascade is the fact that not one person is making the decision. It's a group of us coming together, and we're looking at the kids that we have, and we're making decisions based off what we feel is the best together. And that's really powerful, and I really believe that's what's truly moving our district in the right direction. The second one, William was already talking about it tonight a little bit more, was just being strategic. He was talking more financial. I'm talking more about being strategic academically, where we want to be, goals that we have. We set forward, I included a 3-year strategic plan that kind of lays out where we want to go in a way of collaboration, in a way of essential standards, in a way of what we teach, when we teach it. And again, so that's happening, and that's been great. The other thing is this, again, going back to what William is saying, is being financially responsible. Really looking back right now and being strategic on leveraging what we have and what we currently have. Really asking the questions, what do we do? Why do we need to do it? And then also long-term planning. And again, we're just not looking at this year, we're looking at next year, 3 years. Darren likes to say 2 to 3 years, just because you never know what's going to happen in a biennium, which is great advice. We can't really be looking out 5 years in advance, just because you just never know what's going to happen. However, again, an example of that this year that we're looking at is like AVID. We know that we want to keep AVID. AVID is a major thing that we want to continue working with in the Cascade School District, but the cost of sending people to Summer Institute costs a lot of money. So we're going to scale that back, and we're going to look at, can we do some more things locally, regionally? Also, can we be strategic about who we take and why we take them? So conversations with Mr. Rasmussen, we're talking about AVID elective teachers, and also talk with elementary principals or the principals of us. Do we train our brand new teachers and onboard them in AVID, knowing that we've had or more veteran teachers already trained? And so again, we're just trying to be strategic. And then the last one is, after even being with teamwork and being strategic, is the fact that Cascade allows space for adjustments and being flexible, which is great. And we do that, first off, through relationships. And so we're flexible, we make adjustments through relationships, and that's all based off the fact that we generally all like each other, and we get together and we talk to each other, and we know what's going on in the building. So I know what's going on at Cloverdale. I know what's going on at Almsville and in Turner, junior high, high school, and OC. How? Through conversations, through those relationships. And also, the other thing that we work through is we work through the data. So we make adjustments through relationships of what's going on in buildings and through the hard data that we receive. And again, when we make the adjustments, what I'm talking about is really talking about like placement of a child. So we talked about Kathleen today and how she was talking about, and Julia was talking about, we have this hard kiddo. Is this the right placement for the kid? What resources can we get to this kid? And through that relationship, through data that they collect, they can find the best placement for that kid that has the best results for them and least impact on the other kids as well. So that's there. The other thing, we're looking at resources, we're looking at funds, and also we're looking at people. Where do we want to put the staff? Where's the best place for that staff member? And again, that's conversations with everybody. And maybe that might not be a good fit there, but that's a really good fit, and that's happened before multiple times at Cascade, which is absolutely amazing. And then finally, again, adjustments on how we train people and what we do. And again, junior high say, I would really like to get some more PD on this. High school, I want PD on that. How can we make those adjustments? An example of that is on the 24th. The elementary, we're doing a kind of a round table. They've done it before, basically. Instead of just doing one big training for everybody, we give a menu of options for teachers to go out. So there might be one on AI, reading strategy, behavior, and different things like that. So we're hearing staff was, I want to choose and pick what I want, and so we delivered that. So that's where we're at. Do you guys have any questions tonight?
Any questions? I might have one for you.
Go ahead.
So in your report, you said one area that needs to be addressed is the random pockets of low performance across the district. What's a random pocket of low performance?
That's a good question. So so an example would be, let's say, one area where it just is kind of an outlier is, so let's say 2 out of the 3 schools are in, let's say they're performing at like a 60% rate, and one school's like at a 30%. How did that happen? Why did that happen? And there's a lot of different reasons why that could happen. Another pocket could be a subject area that it doesn't fall in line with what we see. It doesn't make sense, and we have to ask those questions, why is that happening? And again, it's a plethora of reasons. It could be staff, it could be student apathy, it could be, we just have to ask the questions why. And so really we're looking, I don't really want to get into details of calling something out or whatnot,
Yeah.
but again, going to that spot and saying, why did that happen?
Okay.
And what can we do to adjust and be flexible in order to improve on that?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. No, that's very fair. All right. Good.
Yeah.
Any other questions? All right.
All right, thank you guys so much.
Dr.
Have a
I
good night.
appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
All right, high school principals report. That'd be Mr. Rasmussen. Welcome.
Good evening, folks. You have my board report in front of you. Just want to take a minute to highlight some of the non-academic things. I gave you some test scores there. Test scores are great benchmarks for us to look at things. But, you know, they only tell one story. The other story is, what are kids doing in the school? We've added a DECA class I mentioned there. Mr. Foster is a recent hire. Been with us for over a year now, and he's just doing a great job. Those kids are already competing at the state level in DECA competitions, much like back in the day when we had Bob Reinhardt. He's back to doing that. He's got 2 businesses going. They're making a few $100s each week for their DECA club, learning how to manage inventory and sales and marketing, those kind of things. So it's just great to see that group of kids that we've been missing. We've talked about one extra CTE program that we think a school our size can handle, and I think we just found it. That puts us at 6 total CTE programs, and any more than that with 800 kids, we would be cannibalizing each other and competing for the same kids because our kids are involved in so many other programs, so many other things, and there's only so many of them. So I think we're in a great spot for that. And then secondly, just for your information, The Wizard of Oz, every other year we try to do a musical. The Wizard of Oz is happening, and our choir teacher, Wendy Kivett, and band director, drama teacher, Allison Arndt, are doing a fabulous job. It's going to be a great program. Some elementary kids are involved, as well as some junior high and high school kids, so it's going to be a great program, so we sure hope you can come out for that. But that is a production every night for several weeks. Those kids are in there, and just getting ready for 3 or 4 big nights to share with the community. So it's a great community event, a great demonstration of some of the non-academic, super and tremendously valuable things we do. Any other questions about the board report?
I have a question about the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
Okay. On the weekends that you put on here, is that just Saturdays? Is it like 2 showings on
I will get you
Saturdays?
the, I will get you the dates.
Okay.
Yes, there will be at least 4 shows, there might be 6. I will get you the dates on all those, okay? There's at least 2 each of those 2 weekends.
I would also like those.
Pardon me?
I would also like those dates.
Yeah, I will share them with you for
Okay.
sure, for sure.
And I just had another comment. For years, when a play was being presented, they would let the junior high go over and watch the play. Are they still doing that?
Already in the works, and I
Love it.
believe the
Okay.
elementaries are gonna be,
Oh, I love that, because
Yeah.
that's how you get kids interested in.
yeah, for
that.
sure.
So, yeah.
And Wizard of Oz is in the liter,
It's in our
the,
benchmark ELA
I love it.
curriculum.
So-
Very
It's
good.
perfect, all the 4th graders from all the schools.
I love
they'll
it.
be coming over. So there'll be
Okay.
multiple performances within the day,
Okay.
school day, and then also to the community, so we're excited about
Love
it.
it.
And what are the 2 businesses that the DECA class is doing?
They started a t-shirt business, creating t-shirts.
They
and
had that a couple years ago, didn't they? Or
That
did
was a
it-
different group.
Okay.
Wasn't that the leadership, I think, did that?
I don't remember which group that was. But anyway, DECA picked it up because nobody was. There was a little bit of shortchanged of, there's not a lot of Cougar merch out there. We need to get some more
Right.
spread out to the
Right.
world. And I have t-shirts for you folks because I was his first customer, the business teacher. And so we've got some great t-shirts we're going to be sharing with the community, and our staff already has them, and we'll be sharing them with you as well. So that, and the second one is vending machines. We put vending machines back in the building, and everybody's like, whoa, what's happening here? But we are meeting the federal guidelines for healthy foods. They're all diet sodas and waters and those kind of things. So, but I'm telling you, kids buying it. So he's making a little money, and we're making sure we're trying to follow the rules related to our federally funded food program as well. So, but it's good stuff, really is. And those kids are in there loading those machines and counting and doing all the tallying. So it's great. I mean, to see kids do real world, authentic, genuine work is where it's at. That's where real learning happens. I mean, you know, you've all seen it. So it's great. So
That's awesome.
And the CTE program, do you know, can you mention which one you're thinking about adding?
well, that was business. That's the one we just added.
Oh, okay.
This is just his second year. We hired him last year.
So
I
it's
thought it'd take.
DECA, but it is going as a CTE
Yeah,
program?
yeah.
Okay.
And we're getting it, it's approved through the state already, program of study. So we use some Measure 98 dollars to put towards that program, as well as the state career pathways funds. You have to get it approved by the state to be a certified CT program through the state of Oregon. So we have 6 now. And that's probably where we'll be. Number one, FTE is going to be shortchanged here for soon. I'm sure there'll be a tightness on that as we go through a budget cycle that could be a little tighter. So we'll have a hard time adding teachers unless we find 300 new kids to bring to the high school. I don't know. Then we'll be fine.
Or sell
We
more
won't have any
t-shirts.
room. They'll be on the roof.
Sell more t-shirts.
That's true. Sell more t-shirts.
Yeah.
Lots more t-shirts.
Exactly. Nice. Thank you, Mr. Rasmussen.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right, moving on. We've got Turner Elementary Principal's Report. Ms. Iverson, welcome back.
Thank you. You have the board report in front of you. And you know, before I begin, I just want to acknowledge the contribution of Kelly Cromwell to Turner. I mean, her partnership to Turner Elementary has truly made it next level. And she was known as a master elementary teacher prior to going into administration. And me only having background in the secondary world, it really has been a good plus for Turner and our kids and community. So I appreciate that greatly. And at Turner Elementary, we are always attentive to our ABCs: academics, behavior, and community. The board report showcases our last community engagement was family recess. You know, if you call it open house, it's kind of a snooze fest. If you call it family recess and have a fire and feed them hot dogs and s'mores, 500 to 600 people show up. So that's what we call it. We have a fall and a spring. We also had our big jogathon Friday. The tally we'll know in a couple weeks, but we had 400 people show up to cheer on their kids. And again, taking matters into our own hands as far as raising money for those extras. Since I've been at Turner, we've never asked parents to fund field trips, nor do we expect the district to. We actually fund that with our parent club. When we had that family recess, the Great Ducky Race made $1,800. That money goes to buying things directly that kids need to help support their education, whether it be athletic fees for a camp or new shoes. So the ABCs, the community, is in solid place at Turner. Behavior, 99.9% of our kids are doing the right thing every day. Those that need a bit more attention are getting that by the engagement of our teachers and our staff. And last but not least, academics. Data drives instruction, but data also drives me crazy. You'll see in the graph, I mean, according to iReady, 80% of our kids are at or above grade level. State tests may not quite show that so much because they put all those darn grades together. And you can have one class, which we did, our 5th grade knocked it out of the park. They were in the 80s. They set a record, but then you have that quarantine class that kind of brought it down. So I always have to remind myself, and Brian reminds me, that not to let the data drive me crazy, but to take it as a snapshot in time. But it is challenging because we all want the best. We want the best for our kids of this district, and we want to give them the best. Do you have any questions about the board report?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So let's talk about the math results from the beginning of the benchmark. And this might tie back into what we talked about earlier this evening of when the kids are getting grades, like in the 3rd grade. And I don't know what grade this applies to, but it says 3 times a year, all students complete the math diagnostics to determine if students are at, above, or below grade. And my question is, are those students being graded letter grade? So do we have a grade, an A, B, C, D that correlates with above, below, at, when we're testing their math? I mean, do we know what they're going to get before they take that test, just based on their letter grade? Do you understand what I'm asking?
They do not have a letter grade based on the benchmark test.
But they have a letter grade based on their class on that?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. And what I'm excited about, and notice that we don't test kindergartners. We just actually did those last week because we don't test the kindergartners at the beginning of the year.
Right.
But based on the students that have been at our school, so 1 through 5th grade, so last year's 4th graders, what the iReady test does, it tests them at the beginning of the year to determine if they're ready for grade level work, and 80% of our students are, and which is very exciting. And what I'm most excited about is we're really ramping up communication with parents. I never want a parent whose child goes to Turner Elementary to wonder where they are. Bottom line, are they at grade level? So Kelly created a form that we shared with teachers last late start. So it's very simple. In literacy, are they below, at, or above? And what grade level are they reading at? Because you have all these DIBELS scores for literacy, and this scores on comprehension, this is a maze, this scores fluency. Bottom line is, are they at grade level? And when we have conferences in 2 weeks, all parents will receive that information about math and literacy.
So if we have a child that is at grade level, let's just pick one kid, random kid.
Yes.
They're at grade level. What do we expect their letter grade to be at that point in time also? Or is that a fair question?
At a point in time, and again, there's different, overall, the math at grade level, but they might be a little lower. Most of our 4th graders are lower in geometric concepts, for example.
Okay.
So in that particular unit, maybe they have a B or C, but maybe in number fluency, they could have an A or B, or expect to.
They're still at grade level, even at that C, they're at grade level
Correct.
as far as on this scale.
Yes.
Okay, that answers that's what I
Yeah.
was thinking. I'm not catching the correlation there.
And when you have iReady, what we like about iReady is the data it shows, like the graph in front of you. We've never had a math curriculum that everyone across the elementary schools use consistently, and we didn't have one that provides such good data. And it also has a thing called MyPath, which, as much as I dislike kids on computers for long periods of time, once the teacher does their whole group lesson, which is that tier 1, everyone receives the instruction, then the student gets on a computer for an allocated period of time each week, and they do MyPath. And the MyPath curriculum kicks the student to their level. So let's say they're really high in a particular area, like algebraic expressions. Their MyPath will take them to that and make the questions
Challenge them appropriately.
yes, each question will be more challenging.
Right. Whereas if someone's not at that level, they wouldn't get the same.
Correct. And just like our multi-tiered system of support that we always talk about and think about with behavior, you know every kid, you know how they learn. If a student is in the yellow, that's when they go to our math instructional coach and instructional assistants, and they receive small group instruction. They might bring out different manipulatives. They receive the instruction in different ways. And for students in the red, then we take a look at, is there a learning disability at place? They might be on an individualized education plan and receive math in that setting where it's catered to their needs.
But they could be getting an A or a B at that level. Is that the case? If they were below grade level, if they scored below grade level, could they still be getting a good grade at the below grade level?
Kelly?
Maybe this will help.
Mhm.
At the elementary level, it's very,
Sorry.
dang it.
Nice try.
For the record, I invited her to come up with me, so there you go.
Okay, at the elementary level, it's very different with grading. It typically is not A through F. It's called standards-based grading. So the state of Oregon puts out a whole plethora of standards. So in order to master geometry as a kindergarten student, you need standard A.1.2, A.1.3, whatever those are. It's ridiculous. Okay. So teachers are scoring every single standard at that grade level.
Okay. So you can't answer the question I asked. is what
It's
he's
not
saying.
A through F,
Right,
no.
I hear you. Okay.
Yeah, it's 4, are they working above their grade level
Right.
consistently? A 3, are they at? A 2, are they working towards? A 1?
Right. But it's not as simple as I was trying to boil
No.
it down. So I got it. All right.
Yes.
I'll stop asking questions. Thank you.
Well, no, I always joke, and that the secondary report card that I filled out for 20 years was 100 times easier, simpler, and briefer than what an elementary teacher has to do.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's kind of silly.
All right. Fair enough.
Yeah.
All right.
Other
I'm done.
que-
That's all I got. Anything
Yeah.
else?
I had a random question.
Yes.
How's your wellness program going?
Oh, thanks for asking. Because yes, we know that we're going to be short on money, so we're going to go after every grant possible. Just to recap, we received $250,000 over 5 years, and it started in January, and it's going incredibly well. In fact, we have the activities are being frequented by folks from every single building, like the golf lessons on Wednesday at Creekside. All staff from all buildings are represented. Next Saturday, we have about 25 staff doing the rail pedal cars in Lebanon. And we have weekly personal trainers doing group sessions at the different sites for each school. So it's there if people want to join. And the activities, the personal training, the incentives have been very popular. So thanks for asking, because it's going really well. In fact, Brian is coming over and leading Turner on Friday, because Kelly, as one of the wellness coordinators, we have a required one-day wellness conference in Salem on Friday, where we get together with all of the schools who received that grant and just share ideas. So thanks. It's good.
Don't brag about that enough. That's really great.
Awesome. Thank you. Any other
Any other
questions?
We're good. Thanks so much.
Thank you
Appreciate
so
it.
much.
All right, moving on. We've got Communication Director's Report. Greg, welcome.
Good evening, board members. It's good to be here tonight. I'm going to focus my spoken report on just a bond update, but if you have any questions about the communication side in general, or website, or social media, I'm glad to answer those when I'm finished. If I had a chance to edit my report, I would edit it to make it, I want to just state really clearly, nothing's been decided. And when I reread it today, I was kind of like, oh, this feels a little more settled than I intended it to be. What I was reflecting on here is that was what the meeting of the long range planning group was recommending, and we're now in the phase where we're going to be getting more feedback and evaluation on that. We'll get formal feedback from one more poll. We will get informal feedback from some stuff in person at different athletic events by getting things out on social media and things like that on what things are important to folks. But kind of the bottom line on the bond side is always in the back of my mind is what I noticed in reflecting on the previous bond that didn't pass in 2021. the strong feedback was you didn't listen to us. And so we've been working really, really hard to listen and get input over the last year. And we're continuing to do that and to get information out, get information in from folks as we work through stuff. So the process that I'm working on this fall is kind of twofold. One fold is communication to sort of prepare what's going on, and one side is the development of whatever proposal will come to the board in February for what the bond should be. On the communication side, we're focusing on getting 3 messages across in the biggest ways possible that we can. That we are financially stable and secure, that we take good care of your tax dollars here at Cascade, that we are a district with a sense of family that gets excellent results academically, and to report on the conditions of our buildings as honestly as possible. That's the part where Julie and I have talked about. It's kind of going against any of our instincts, where our normal instincts, where we're actually trying to get out some of the things that are a struggle in our buildings. And maybe the analogy that I thought of when I was sitting here tonight is we are awesome at doing the regular maintenance like a car. We change the oil more regularly than you probably do for your car. We change the tires. We wash it ourselves. We keep it up to date. But there are times, you know, when you have a big repair bill or when the car has 400,000 miles on it, that you can't fund it out of your monthly paycheck and you've got to go someplace else. And so that's kind of the reality of where we are. And those of us who are in this room, who care about Cascade, who know what's going on, we see all of our big needs and know all of those issues. And we have to balance the reality of these huge numbers of big needs with what voters will actually approve for us to do. So that's just the tricky part right now of trying to figure out what that balance is and what the right one is. We will, I've been trying to keep you up to date by email, and I can continue to do that. If you ever have questions, please let me know. And I've worked enough with the boards before I know to reply to all of you so that everybody gets the same information. I just want you to know that we're welcome when we bring the long-range planning group back together in early November. 2 of the board members, whichever 2 you think should be there, are welcome to be a part of that as well. Or any other way that you want to be involved, we want to make sure that that's open to you. What's always hard is like how much, so maybe I'll stop there and see what questions you have before I do too much detail or too much stuff what's going on.
So I'll ask a question.
Yeah.
I wanted, that was the Mr. Drill to start with, and I'm going to come back. And I realize I've had 0 input on the planning on this, so I have a very limited opinion right now.
Yeah.
But I read somewhere that we're looking at putting a artificial turf field in. Is that accurate on any level?
It's not accurate.
That is one of those things that is on the huge generated list of all the possible needs we have, which as the person we're working with, who's kind of our owner's rep, penciled them out, that was something like $120 million for all of those things. So we just have a list of all the things.
So
that
it's
are on
everybody's
there.
wish
Everybody's
list is
kind of
on
need
there.
that.
And it's low, it's down below perhaps the cutoff line of where we're going to say, hey, that's enough.
Right. We have not really got down to those details. We're going to be polling and testing the different things. One of the things we talked about at the last meeting that made a lot of sense to me is when you see in black and white, which may be what happened to you or with others who said that, you know, you see turf field athletics and you think, well, why are, you know, in this time of budget crisis all over, why are we building these kind of things for our sports? And the reality is that the things that we're actually looking at that might be done are things that are required for our PE classes. That we, the state of Oregon, the only subject they require a certain amount of minutes is PE. So you have to be able to have spaces to do that. So we might resurface a track so that it is more usable for PE. We might do an artificial field so that we have more times of the year when our PE classes can get out there. That would be the focus if that was ever in our final bond package. Less athletic fields and more refurbishing for physical education would be the way that would go.
Got it. All right, that was my question that I was kicking around earlier. Thank you.
So my question is, the last time we met, what was decided kind of as the package that we were moving forward with, that is not set in stone?
That is not set in stone.
Okay.
Yeah, and part of was, you're talking about the one in the spring, the last
Yeah.
one there, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That total package was about $78 million, somewhere in that range. And after that point, we got some polling back, and the reality is when we look at the numbers is that we are very unlikely to pass anything at that level. And so we're looking at what is realistic for our voters that will also meet our needs. As many of you probably already know, we have the past bond is falling off the tax rolls after this year. So that level right now is at $1.11 per 1,000 of assessed value. So we are going to be looking at and testing, you know, what do voters think about just redoing stuff and not increasing your taxes at all? What's the rate of response to that? What would you think about increasing 40 cents from where you are now? But even if we go all the way up to $1.99, the reality is just with the size of our tax base and the size of our district, does not give enough money to get to that 76 million spot. So kind of the three major things the last meeting looked at was kind of a, I suppose I should start with the good news that it was in the report, is that the Awesome Grant has gone up, and we know that Cascade, if we do pass a bond, will receive $10 million additional instead of 6 as in previous years. So just renewing our taxes at the 111 is about $30 million from a general bond, and then you add the 10 million, that's a $40 million package. Increasing by about 40 cents gets you 40 million plus the 10, that's about a $50 million package. Increasing by 70, 85 cents, that gets you 40 or 50 million plus 10s for 60 million. So those are kind of the three we're looking at. The group that was there was kind of leaning toward the middle one, but again, that's not set or definite. We're still working and thinking through what that does. What we know is only the top one is there enough room to build a 5-6 building on the campus here. And to do that would mean a lot of the other things, some of the critical repairs could be done, but not all the identified repairs could be done. At the lower two, all of those can get covered and be done.
So when we see, I'm seeing like in the paper, for example, right now there's something with districts like Amity Fire Department's going out for monies right now. I know Staten went out for monies for their pool and their libraries, et cetera. Is there statistics on where the number, when we're asking people for the tax number of $1.10, $1.20, $1.30, where's the line on the likelihood of it passing versus not passing? Is it a number? You know, when people look at that and it says, hey, this is going to add X dollars to your taxes. Is there a number where people tend to sour more versus be more favorable to? You know what I'm asking you?
I know what you're asking, and every district is different. And so that's,
I'm just asking big picture. When somebody number cruncher, the marketing folks that we're dealing with, do they say, hey, your best opportunity is at this rate or below?
Yeah. The best way to find that out is to do, to hire a company to do an official poll. And that's what we will do again. We did that in May, and we will do that again in this month. That is not a guarantee. They always say that's, 5% margin of error either way. But we will be, after what we learned in May, then we're going to be testing 2 different numbers, and we're also going to be testing different packages to see which respond. And we hope to get 2 primary things of information out of that. One is kind of what you're saying, bottom line, where do we see the fallout? Where do we see it coming?
Yeah.
And given that, what are the projects that are most likely to make voters say, yes, I will vote yes for this?
And so we're all consumers at that point when we're voting. And is that consumer turned off or on more by the cost or the gain? Are they more appealing? Is the dollar amount more of a turn off or on, or is what's being sold to them more of a influencer?
A pollster is going to give you a better answer than that. But what I would say from what we learned and as the things from the May polling were told to us is the major thing that is present in our district right now is uncertain. Everybody has uncertainty about the economy and their own financial future, and so it's the pocketbook that is the big thing that's driving.
It's not what you're going to do with it. It's how much it's going to cost me.
It's the dollar.
Right.
And because of that, the items that seem to be most attractive in May, and we're going to test this again in October to see if it's still true, are the critical repairs, the meat and potatoes, not what voters see as the fluff, right? So they want to see they're,
Well, and that's why I asked about the turf field, because I said,
Yeah.
hey, wait, if we're
Yeah.
trying to sell this as a,
Yeah.
hey, these are just things we really need, but oh, by the way, we have a turf going in.
yeah,
That's a tough sell.
yeah.
Okay. But I agree, it's, in my opinion, it's the dollar. What's it gonna cost me?
Yeah.
I don't care what you're doing with
Yeah.
it, what's it gonna cost me?
And, you know, there's the thing that I will say, and I've said probably every time I've stood here to report, is I love being here because of how much the community supports schools.
Right.
But that still is only about a third at the most of our voters. And there's
Right.
all those people out there who don't really know what Cascade is
Right.
about. We're doing everything we can to get the information out. We're mailing things, we're making videos, that we're gonna pay for advertisements in YouTube. But,
Right, and that's why I think
Yeah.
that knowing where that break point is in dollars is so key, because 2/3 of the community are looking at just what's it gonna cost me. And if the 100, or the $1.10 I can stomach, but $1.40 turns me off, we need to know what that number is.
yeah,
Right?
Yeah.
Because that, like you said, 2/3 of them, it's gonna be hard to sell our story to. They're just looking at it as a line item on their, on their pocketbook.
and I think another thing that bears that out is, one of the things with the last poll is they do a thing with an initial ask, which kind of catches people cold. And then over the course of a 12-minute phone call, they're saying it would do this and it would do this. And they're educating in ways that, like, I really, with the best communications program in the world, I couldn't do. But for those 400 people who are doing it, they get a great education. And one of the most challenging things of that is that we only gained about 7 percentage points, even with all of that.
Right.
And it didn't get above 50, with those. So we are going to do everything we can to communicate, but one of the realities is there are not a lot of persuadable voters right now. So we have to kind of work with the realities of what is there.
Right. Well, thank you for your dedication to that cause.
Yes.
Appreciate it. Any other questions? Dynamite. Thank you.
And the website is really cool. You should go take a look if you like it.
All right, thank you. All right, Family Resource Center Director's Report. Hello, Cheryl.
Hi.
Welcome.
So good to see everyone
Wonderful
again.
to see you.
So we are off to a great start. We started with our back to school resource fair, and we gave out over 200 supply kits to kids, along with backpacks, coats, haircuts, bike and walk safety. Huge turnout, always is. The hairdressers usually end up staying almost an hour later so they can make sure that all the kids get their hair cut that wanted it. So that's always exciting. We have contacted every family who marked themselves as houseless or not in their own home. So we've already contacted all those families this year, which usually it takes us the entire year to do, but having Jordan on board is wonderful. So we have contacted all those families and reached out to everyone. We have so far this year worked with 45 families, which amounts to 85 students. That's just the first 6 weeks of school. So we're pretty excited about that we help them with utility bills, rent, shoes, school supplies, furniture, deposits, bus transportation, alarm clocks. I mean, the list is huge. We also, this last week, had a brunch for our faith community leaders so that we could reach out to them, tell them what the Resource Center is about, and see if we can get some collaboration between the churches and us. So that happened. We're prepping for an oil painting class this week that was out there 8 hours. Class is full, huge waiting list. So that's really great. So we have lots of events planned for this year. You have that list in your packet. So it is this. So we have something every month, and sometimes 2 and sometimes 3, depending on what it is we're doing. So, we'll throw in spring break food boxes, and we'll throw in Red Ribbon Week, and which are not even on our event list. So lots of good things happening over there. Does anyone have any questions?
Yes.
Of course.
So, Mr. Drill talked earlier about the Oregon budget being affected by the federal budget. And my question to you is, have you seen any funding cuts, finance slowed down due to the federal issues going on, and to what extent?
So all of our funding resources, a lot of it is state, Salvation Army, other nonprofits, the Department of, DHS, all those places, all the money's shorter.
Right.
So that's more instability for our families because they can't get into their own homes. And so I haven't seen a big influx of it, but we do have more and more people asking for rent and deposits to try and
Has
get into
our
housing.
revenue source dried up? Do we have less money available to help these people out because of the issues going on nationally?
So we use our SIT team, which is our service integration team, for funding, and they leverage. So it might cost our team $50 to $100, but they've leveraged $1,300 to help get that rent paid. And so we work closely with them. They do a lot of the things that we need for our families. And, they also get donations and that kind of thing too. There's just, Arches, which is a government or a nonprofit.
Nonprofit, right,
Yeah, they just don't have the funding.
right. So it is dry, it's affecting, it's
It
having an
is,
effect.
it is. It's harder for families to get into homes because
Right.
rent is so expensive.
Right,
And then you gotta put first, last, plus deposit. I mean, you're looking at $6,000. Like, that's not something our low-income families can even come up with.
okay. And so do we come up with those funds for them?
We do not, but we do reach out. I can do funding requests through our SIT team, and we can get funding for them. So we've already paid some utility bills that were way behind. We have another family we're working on rent and deposit for a child abuse situation where they need to move out of the home that they're in. So just lots of different scenarios.
Right,
And we do what we can, and, we reach out, and we also provide them other resources. You could check here, you can check here, but really our SIT team is just the place to go because they leverage from all different kinds of places. And, they get some funding. People just donate to them too.
so what would you say from your chair, what's the biggest hurdle your department has? Is it paper, is it funding? I mean, what's the single biggest thing that keeps you restrained or that you have to overcome every day to help these folks?
Housing.
Okay,
Housing is the biggest issue that we have.
and that's not
Just
something,
because it's not affordable
right, and that's not an easy
and it's
fix.
not available in our
Right.
district.
Right. So do people have to, are they having to go out of district and then commuting to find housing?
Some of them are, and that's why a lot of our families are doubled up, which means that we have to provide transportation to and from for them. So if they have to stay with grandma and grandpa and they live in Salem, Cascade transports them back and forth so the kids have the stability of staying here at Cascade.
Wow.
If they're McKinney-Vento, which, that's a case-by-case basis.
Right, okay, but it's housing is the single biggest issue we have. Wow, okay. Okay. All right, any other questions?
Okay.
That's it. Nice to
Thank
see you,
you.
thanks for coming in.
Mr. Chair, just want to let you know
Yes, sir.
that, haven't had a chance to say this out loud, but last year, at the end of the year, we were in a process of working with SIT teams, and every year, SIT team kind of has a big gathering. So Jefferson has a SIT team, Staten has a SIT team, Cascade has a SIT team. And they have a gathering at the hospital to basically say thank you to everybody. They also give out an award for essentially the most effective person in that process. And after just a couple years, Cheryl Harmon won that award. And it was the SIT surfboard. I'm not quite sure why it's a surfboard award. Yeah, but I do have a picture of her standing next to a surfboard, and she won that award. I was graciously asked to come, so Cheryl won that award.
Yeah, Carol.
Basically being one of the most effective people in our surrounding area to work with kids and work with families on that. So it was a good move to have Cheryl over there.
All right, good job, Cheryl, thank you, appreciate it. All right, moving on, Director of Technology Report, Mr. Kuhn, welcome.
Thank you all for being here. I haven't won any surfboards.
There's
You
always
should have my
tomorrow.
report in front of you. I don't want to touch on a lot that's in there. I wanted to mention one thing that I forgot to put in the report, which is that this year we deployed KnowBe4, which is a email phishing simulation and training application. So basically, about once a month, we're going to send out a video and say, hey, please watch this and answer the questions. And it kind of gives you some quick tips and tricks, and this is what to look for in a phishing email. This is how to, judge if it's good or bad, and here's a button you can click if you think it's bad, and we can look at it for you. We sent out our first phishing campaign, which is testing all the staff. It's just again, a phony email where we kind of have some big issues. The sender's email address is all wonky, and the text is wrong, and your name is wrong, and Cascade only had 6% of our staff that clicked on the link. which the average in No Before is somewhere between 12 and 15. So I was very surprised for the first attempt. I will say again, that was not a well-crafted email.
Did anyone in here fail? I just heard I heard some awkward giggling a second ago.
So,
I
I don't know for sure. I have not looked that closely at the report.
Good answer, man.
The details are in the report, but I don't look that closely. I more look at the bigger picture. The other thing is in that, so it was actually like 6.3% or something. In that, some of the people were just curious, right? So one of my technicians was like, well, what happens if you click on it? And I was like, well, it should bring up a page that says you did something wrong. And he's like, well, let me see. And sure enough, he clicked on it. No, yeah, it brings up a no before. Don't do this.
You
This is what I'm
failed.
looking for.
Yeah.
So some of those results are also false positives because they did it on purpose. But anyways,
You're being kind.
It's a good tool. I'm excited to have it. I'm excited to craft some more complex campaigns that look more legitimate to again continue to train and help staff and help to train us because we are the weakest link in security. The other thing I wanted to mention on was the CIS audits we've been doing. So CIS, the Center for Internet Security, is basically an organization that looks at all of the technology things. They look at your firewall, they look at your computer, they look at your servers, they look at your wireless policies, and they say of all these toggles, all these switches, all these things you can do, these are kind of best practice. This is kind of what you should do. After the audit and some remediation, we're in very good shape. I talked to our contact with Willamette ESD, and he was like, yeah, I was actually very surprised. You're one of the best districts that I've audited. So we're doing well there. Doesn't mean we're not going to get hit. Doesn't mean we won't get attacked, but we're poisoning ourselves better than the average person. One thing I wanted to mention, which is to hopefully answer one of Brett's questions, why aren't we at 100%? The reality is some of these policies don't work in education. So for instance, they want everybody to have a complex password that expires annually, that has 15 characters, uppercase, lowercase, special characters. A sixth grader can't do that, right? So we have to have some accepted risk where we say, we're in education, we can't do these things. There's certain policies on the firewall, they want a certain level of logging and retention and analysis. That costs more money. The funding just isn't there and it doesn't make sense for us. So that's why we're not at 100%. There's just certain things that, again, we look at and we say, this isn't realistic for us, this doesn't work for our environment. And this organization, again, is just saying, best practice is flip this switch. And we've had really good results. We've enabled a lot of security features. We had some road bumps at the start of school because suddenly phones don't connect very well anymore. Suddenly these things don't work. These websites aren't working because they don't use a secure protocol. But we're moving forward and those road bumps are a lot less frequent now. So that's all I had for you. Any questions?
Do I have any other questions? So I do have one more for you. So it said that you're doing a new phone system. Are we putting in like regular phone lines? Are we going with voice over IP? What are we doing for phones?
So we already use voice over IP. The issue is our current ShoreTel Mitel system was deployed about 10 years ago. The actual software Mitel is no longer supporting in 3 years.
Okay.
So we have 3 years to do something different. It will likely be another VoIP system. One of the pieces I'm looking at is I would like it to be a system that we can use our current phones for because the phones aren't cheap.
Right.
So we're trying to find that. We would love to have a hosted solution, right? So a phone company that they host the server, they host all the equipment,
Right.
they do all that. The thing is, there's a trade-off. If I host something, it might cost me $100,000 to buy all the physical equipment that I have to do to host it. But every year, it's only gonna be X thousands per year. Versus if I go to Zoom, I talk to Willamette ESD, that's gonna be tens of thousands of dollars a year to go Zoom phones. So if we go hosted, the cost per year is gonna be a lot higher. If we stay where we host it ourselves, the cost per year is lower, but the initial capital expenditure is higher.
Right.
So we have to kind of weigh those and say, well, one, do we have the funds, right, to do something on-prem? And then two, are we gonna have the funds long-term to go off out of our environment?
How many, this is a silly question, but how many physical phones do we even have here at this school?
Close to 400.
And how many of them are used every day?
Oh, gosh.
I mean, I ask that because everybody's got cell phones.
Yeah, here's the thing though, it's not used every day, but the day that somebody needs to call 911 from that classroom.
Granted.
And also, we actually recently had an issue where our nurses were trying to use cell phones, and guess what? In certain offices, there's no service.
Right, okay.
So the physical desk phone that's plugged into the wall, as long as our internet is up, it has service, so.
Right.
Yeah, cell phones work pretty well, but there are very dead spots in this area. We actually have a booster in the district office, because without it, we have very little service.
Yep.
I was
So-
gonna say, my phone doesn't actually work at this building.
Is that right?
Yeah, so I don't know if it's just because of my carrier, but I have no cell reception when I'm here.
Yeah, we have a Verizon booster. We have a couple in the other buildings as well, but it's still, there's an office in the junior high that gets 0 bars. There's still lots of locations that, yeah. And we can't do anything about that. We've talked to T-Mobile and Verizon and joked and said, hey, we have a field over there. If you guys throw a tower up, we would love it.
Right.
They're not willing to do that because the cost. There's only 17 farms in this area, so,
Right.
you know, there's not enough people
Not a
to-
return on investment
Yeah.
there. Yeah, I hear you. Okay. That's fair.
Anything else?
Any other questions? No? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right, moving on to discussion and communication personnel. It looks like Mr. Weeks, new staff recommendations.
Only got one for you here tonight, and it's a temporary teacher. It's a math teacher over at the middle school for, in particular for maternity leave. So they'll come in later this year, be with us about 12 weeks, and be out again after that. But we're lucky to have Dawn Roden coming in for that position. Dawn has taught middle school math for about 7 years. She's actually taught our curriculum for 7 years. So we're
That's
lucky
easy.
to find someone that's wanting to come in, do a part-time piece that's already trained in the curriculum we do already. So great addition, a great find. Also has some kids in the community, so really good hire, we think, for this one.
All right, very good. Any questions?
Easy one.
Any thoughts? Nope, appreciate it, thank you. And next is 5B, out-of-state trip request, Mr. Rasmussen.
We've got girls basketball looking to head to San Diego for a basketball tournament. And I think it's, I can't remember what it's called, surf and something tournament. Anyway, it's a long-standing tournament. And then we have our wrestling team who would like to go to two elite tournaments for some of their top-tier wrestlers, to Reno and then to the greater Boise area. They're planning to take a minibus for those 2 trips. We check with the company, and the company feels very comfortable that they'll make it. So I did break down one time in Southern Oregon on a minibus, and so I was like, are we sure they're going to make it? And so the bus company says, they're going to make it. We're going to service them. So it's like, okay.
I was there with you, Mr. Rasmussen.
It was.
It was a good
There was
time.
oil all over the place. I was like, this is not good. So we sat in Merlin, Oregon for a little while.
Nice. All right.
Just hung out. But anyways, two great opportunities for our kids to compete outside the state of Oregon. Girls are raising funds for that trip, for the basketball program. Glenn Norris, you met him last week or last month. He was here visiting. And so they're excited to hopefully gain your approval.
Dynamite. Any questions for Mr. Rasmussen? Nope. All right, thank you, Mr. Rasmussen. All right, moving on, we've got informational items. Division 22 assurances.
That's me.
Mr. Drill.
Yep, so every year, the state of Oregon, right on cue, somebody's running
course.
the thing, so you don't have to listen to this. Every year, the state of Oregon basically says, here are things that are required by law that school districts must do. And every year, that list grows a little bit longer. And every year, we figure out a way to ask all the people that are sitting out here in the audience if they do various other things, and most of them do, to make sure that we are in compliance. And I'm here to tell you tonight that we are in compliance with all the things on the list.
Wonderful.
Super.
Any questions, any thoughts? Nope. Wonderful. Thank you, Mr. Drill.
Yep.
Next is public comment. My understanding is we have no public comment. We will move right on to resolutions. Hang on, I'm getting there. Almost there. Ta-da. Okay, resolution 8A, resolution regarding new hire recommendations.
Be it resolved, the Cascade Board of Education moves to approve the new hire recommendation of Don Roden as recommended by the administration.
Second.
8A resolution regarding new hire recommendations has been moved and seconded. Any discussion? No discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. 8B resolution regarding out-of-state trip request.
Be it resolved, the Cascade Board of Education moves to approve the request from the high school athletic department for the following travel of Cascade High School sports programs. Girls varsity basketball team travel to San Diego, California from December 26th to December 31st. Boys varsity wrestling team to travel to Reno from December 18th to the 21st. And boys varsity wrestling team to travel to Napa, Idaho from January 1st to January 4th.
Second.
8B resolution regarding out-of-state trip requests has been moved and seconded. Any discussion? No discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Future agenda items, Mr. Drill.
So we've wrapped up the board goals or the board goals that you saw, and then we will talk a little bit about, for those of you who are going to the OSBA State Conference, I'll connect back with you, get times and all that pieces as we come up on that. Right after that weekend, we will have our next board meeting for November. It appears that with tradition of this board that, assuming that November goes well, you guys have generally said there's no need for a December board meeting, so I need you to be thinking about that as well. With all the holiday stuff going on, you guys have always kind of said, no, unless we really need it, there's no reason to have it. Other than that, I think we're on schedule. We'll continue to pay more and more attention to finances, as you've heard tonight, and we'll be getting you more information as the time comes. Right after the first of the year, as Greg mentioned, you will get more information about the bond. Any other questions or anything that you need on the list?
Nope. I think we're
Oh,
good.
yes, Safe Schools. Those of you that have not completed Safe Schools, you need to finish Safe Schools. That's the thing on there. If you are like, what are you talking about? Please ask Jennifer before you leave tonight, and she will explain it to you. There was an email that went out. I can tell you that many people in this audience have done Safe Schools, but they can also tell you that I have not completed mine.
It was
So,
I
know. I have not completed mine.
I hear it was a phishing email and you were to have deleted.
Yep. Good answer, good answer. Good answer.
All right, fine.
I'm close to done. You have till the end of this month. So I have been reminded that wasn't good enough for me, but I said I have till the end of the month, and they said yes.
Dynamite.
That's right. We have 90% completion. I'm in that 10%. So many years I got done before school even started. And somehow this year I haven't got there.
Anything else from the board? Nothing? No? We're good?
Good.
All right, thanks everybody for coming. Meeting adjourned.
Oh,